more rule changes, okay, that don't involve tushes or pushes. There's going to be 3 major rule changes for the 2025 season. Both teams will not be allowed to possess the ball in regular season overtime games. Will now be allowed. This aligns with the postseason overtime rule. So the OT period will remain at 10 minutes. Just really important that they will be allowed to both possess the ball. The replay assist system has been expanded and can reverse flags on hits to defenseless players, face mask, horse collar, tripping, and a few others. And the touchback spot has been moved from the 30 to 35-yard line on kickoffs. The Lions' proposal to eliminate the automatic first down on defensive holding or illegal contact did not pass. There's also one more new rule for 2025. First downs will now be measured with an 8-camera Hawkeye system instead of by officials on the chain crew. So the chain gang, that's not going to be a thing anymore. A similar technology has been used with success in the UFL. It still won't change a bad spot, but will allow crews to quickly make first down decisions. The technology is there, and finally we're getting caught up with the times. New on NFL Live.
Okay, let's talk about this. This is all pretty interesting stuff. The overtime rules, reportedly the reason why they didn't want everyone to kind of touch the ball was because they reportedly want overtime to be over as quickly as possible, because the chance of the chance of an injury goes through the roof, right? The longer you play and the more fatigued you are when you're playing, the likelihood of injuries just kind of go through the roof. And so they want these games to be over. That's why they don't want it like college. They don't want to have it kind of keep going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. They can be exciting, and maybe, when you're 19, 20, it's going to be a little bit different. But when you're 25, 26, 30, 33, whatever, like, your chance of injury goes up. But we know, especially with the way how the rules have changed in the NFL, that offense is obviously at a major advantage. I mean, just look how they're moving the ball up to the 35-yard line now, right? Like, the game has changed so much to help ensure offense that you're at a major disadvantage, because the argument was always kind of like, oh, well, defense is 50% of football just as much, and like, so if you want to win, your defense needs to stop the offense from scoring a touchdown. And it's just like, in theory that sounds right, but not really, quite frankly. I mean, seriously, that's just not the way it is anymore. Offense is king still, and although it is a pendulum and people are getting back to the importance of defense, it still doesn't change the sheer fact that the rules are still changed in a fundamental way that still encourage offense. And it's just, it's going to be a lot easier that if you have the first possession to kind of just get after it. So I think it's fair, because these games and these seasons, because I was thinking about this before, I forget what game it was at the end of last season, where it was just like, it was either the final week or the second to last week, and there was some games that had like major playoff implications. And I just remember thinking, like, they should have they should have overtime rules here, like playoff overtime rules. Like, it's so not fair. Like, you got to give these guys a chance. You got to give them a chance. And I think this is just an easy fix to just do this like this. Honestly, it just makes sense that both teams get to have the chance to have the ball offensively. The replay assist one. So I actually am really excited for this, but I am slightly nervous, though, because there are plenty of times, right, that we're watching the game and we're like, oh my God, that was clearly a face mask. How do they not call that? And it drives you crazy. And there was plenty of times that happened throughout the season, multiple times to Sam Darnold, back-to-back weeks where I think it happened to Sam Darnold. And, there was many, many times that we always see those types of things. My concern is that with the replay system, we'll have to see how much it happens, is that, also, how many times are you watching a football game and everything feels like it's going great, and then there's that random flag that like has nothing to do with anything, and you're just like, oh my God, like, it was barely a hold, or whatever it was, and now it kind of bogs everything down. My concern is that there's like kind of face masks and any of these other types of penalties that are kind of happening like so regularly that with replay assist, we're going to potentially see more penalties, or there's going to be times that like there's clearly a penalty and then they throw a flag, but then replay assist picks up the flag. Like, it just also has on one side, it has the potential to really like clarify things and make things like smoother. And on the other side, it has the ability to also like frustrate you, disrupt the viewing experience even more. I mean, nobody wants to see flag after flag. I mean, it's so frustrating to constantly, even if you're cheering for the team and you benefit from a flag, like, yeah, it's nice, but also at the same time, like, it's just, you want to see these guys play. You want to see them play, but you do want it to be fair too, right? You don't want to see a missed face mask or, whatever it may be. And it says will be permitted to reverse flags for several penalties. And so, I'd like to see a list of what the official, like, what all of the penalties are. I'll have to take a look and see what that officially, ends up being. But to me, this is going to be more about not so much what replays can they, because again, it's like, well, they'll be permitted to reverse flags. So they also then drop flags too? Like, whatever it may be. I don't know. And like I said, it will all come down more to what does this actually look like in practice, right? What does this actually do? Because this will change the viewing experience to a degree. Just like how they have replay assist that kind of helps sped up some of those things where instead of needing a challenge, like, that sped up the game. That was nice. That was good. That was positive. So you just don't know. The whole when they tried to do the replays for pass interference, I guess it depends on, what side of that you were part of, but it just felt like, a coach was throwing that flag at least like once a game, and it kind of bogged things down a little bit. And then the whole thing was that everything looks like pass interference in slow motion. And at that point, you're kind of like, well, I don't even know what pass interference is anymore at this point. And then you had the constant debate with, depending on who was the commentator, said, no, the defensive player does not need to face the ball. He just can't, he doesn't have to turn around. And other people are like, well, he never turned around, therefore it's pass interference. Like, they still don't know. It feels like back in the days when we didn't even know what officially was considered a catch anymore. Like, there still seems to be debate. And so I just wonder if some of this stuff will be unintentionally like controversial, bog down the game, or speed it up. I mean, it really depends. The kickoffs, I have a love-hate relationship with this to a degree. I don't know. I mean, the touchback spot will be moved from 30 to 35. Is that to encourage more people to kick the ball in the section where you have to now, right, where you can't do a touchback, to encourage more action on kickoffs? I assume so. But also, at the same time, isn't it going to also really encourage a lot of players then, if they do get the ball in the end zone, to just automatically do a touchback? Like, I'm still trying to conceptually understand this. But then also getting the ball on the 35-yard line, you obviously have to go, I mean, one day it was 20, then it was a 25, the 30, now the 35. You know what I mean? Like, you're one play away from being at midfield, just like that. Just like that. So if this leads to more action on kickoffs, I could understand it, but I'll be honest, the way how kickoffs are now, and even how they were in the past to a degree, I just don't care. That's why it's so funny to me that they always talk about tush pushes. A kickoff is just, yeah, sometimes when you get a big return, it's exciting. And sometimes when you get a big tackle, right, when they really crush someone, it's energizing and it can be fun. But I'm sorry, for kickoffs, like, I still, if I'm watching these games, which I obviously am, I will pause pretty much anytime I need to do anything. Even if my phone, I get a text message or something, and I'll still pause it and look down and do this. Kickoffs are still something where it's like, oh, I need to get a drink of water, I need to go to the bathroom, I'll just let it run, I don't care. And then if I come back and I see that they're now on the other team's like 30 or something, then I'm like, okay, I'll rewind, I'll rewind it and be like, okay, what the heck just happened here? But otherwise, it's just like, I just don't care. And so this idea that they're potentially trying to either make kickoffs not only safer, which I'm definitely for, but then also trying to make it a little bit more interesting and less skippable, I'm just like, I don't know. Again, if you really care about it, then just no more kickoffs, and once you score a touchdown, whatever, you get the ball on the 25 or something. I'm nervous of what it looks like when you're now at the 35, because like I said, you're one pass away from just already being at the 50. And like once upon a time, being at the 50 was like when you started to get like, if you're an offensive player, if you're watching your team on offense, like getting to the 50 was like when you started to get a little bit more excited. You're on your own 20 and you're like, come on, we got to get out of here, we got to get out of our own red zone or whatever, we want, because we don't want to go 3 and out, because then we're going to give them great field position, etc., etc. And then you keep the drive going, and then once you kind of start to get to like your own 40, 45, around the 50, opposing teams like 45, like you start to kind of get excited. You start to feel like, all right, we're in field goal, potentially we're flirting with field goal range or a couple more first down. Like you just start to kind of feel that energy a little bit. You start to feel like, okay, maybe we can score this drive, or we're only down by 10. If we score a touchdown here, we're down by 3. Like you start to have those thoughts, start percolating. I'm fearful that within a play, boom, you're at the 50 and you're just like, all right. Like it's just a subtle thing that potentially kind of really changes the viewing experience in a way that we might not necessarily be aware of. And if you're trying to get more action on a kickoff, I don't know. It just doesn't mean much to me, honestly. Like, especially the way how the kickoffs are now, the way how it is, like, even when there has been kind of a little bit of an exciting kickoff where they're able to get, to the, even just like to the 40 or 50, the play itself still doesn't really feel all that exciting. If I'm watching a game and I'm really into the, to the outcome of the game, I'm really trying to root for someone or something. If I see a kickoff and someone gets it to like the 40 or the 45, I can have some energy. I can be like, all right, there we go, let's go. But if I see a bigger run, if I see them hand the ball off to Saquon Barkley, Derrick Henry, or if I see Josh Allen roll out and throw a 15-yard pass, like, that excites me so much more. That I'm like, I get fired up. I'm ready to go. If I see a quarterback take a sack and 10-yard loss, like, that gets me fired up. Outside of an exciting moment in a game when there's a kickoff and they truly run for a touchdown, obviously that's a different story. But then again, that happens so minimally, and I don't know. At this point, it's just like, if you really care about the speed of the game and the safety of the game, it's like, whatever, just put them at the 25-yard. Let's get the football then. If you don't think tush push is football, well then then get rid of kickoffs. I mean, seriously, or get rid of field goals too then, or in terms of extra points. So I don't know. I'll have to see that. I could totally flip on that and say, okay, I actually like this. But I will plant the flag now that's saying something about starting on the 35-yard line. Getting to at least the 40, 45, 50, like, that felt like, okay, you have some momentum. There's some excitement building. It feels like your offense is they've converted a couple first downs, or they had a big chunk play. There's this build up. I just fear that at the 35, you're one play from just already automatically being there, and it just, I don't know. It potentially feels too easy, too quick, and if that becomes more of a norm, or if you're encouraging more kickoffs that end up not really being all that exciting anyway, I don't know. Just still, I'm just working it out in my mind, because this is the first time that I saw that this is where they would start. I wasn't really keeping up to date on the notable rule changes, honestly, because it's one of those things where, like, I have no control over it, so I have to just sit there and watch whatever they show me. So but yeah, I don't know. I'm still thinking about it. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about some of these notable rule changes? Any positives that you see, any negatives that you see? Love to hear your thoughts. Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions, let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.